6 to 12.
That's where
Okay.
I'm falling in.
Okay, that's good. In that context, carry on.
Yes, sir.
Well, but first we're doing the 1 minute.
Yeah.
First, we're doing the 1-minute elevator pitch.
All right, tell me when you're ready.
1, 2, 3, go.
Okay.
Credzone makes your personal and professional life easier and saves you time and money. By digitizing all your important documents, your warranties, your licenses, your credentials, we protect them from loss, from fire, from flood, from hurricanes, and from expiration. We also help companies maintain their records for compliance purposes, for insurance, for grants, for state and federal contract work. Credzone can save you money, save you time, and make your life easier. Thank you. Ready for the next part?
So,
Okay. Welcome to the Credzone, product of the International Credentials and Transcript Repository. I'm Kurt Moorhour, president of the company. It's a pleasure to be with you all here this afternoon. Today, the key to success is continuous education on a post-secondary basis. Surprisingly, only 20% of the jobs in this country require a 4-year degree or better, but an additional 60% require some type of post-secondary education under a certification basis. So in essence, 80% of the viable jobs in our market today require some type of post-secondary accreditation. Continually changing technology requires continuous training and certification. Compliance reporting for insurance for state and federal contracts is getting increasingly more difficult. Managing training programs, managing compensation plans, it's more difficult as your company grows. Sophisticated equipment requires regular inspection, recertification, and maintenance. And maintaining the records for that can be a burden for some employers. Healthcare, education, construction, and IT are the fastest growing industry sectors in our country. They also have the highest amount of employee turnover, which we call churning, and they are also the industries that require the most certification for the workforce. A vast number of U.S. companies are small employers, and internationally that is especially true. Most small employers manage all their documentation for their important record keeping for employees and for their equipment on some type of internal spreadsheet, which affects the employers from the standpoint now they're controlled by the turnover of their own management team. These are the figures from the Department of Labor that show us that we have approximately 50 million employees that fall in with our direct market in the United States and an additional 20,000 employees in related markets. Credzone is a unique service that has tremendous potential for growth, not only in the U.S., but internationally. I've already begun outreach to associations in England, in Europe, in Australia, and in Canada. Any trading partner with the United States is a strong candidate for our service. There are several HR companies that provide this service to larger employers. Oracle is the most prominent of those organizations, and they're actually in the process now of buying up their competition. But there's no employer that provides this particular service, either here or internationally, for the small employers, less than 250 employees in number. When I went to work for Santa Fe College a number of years ago, I had to submit a copy of my college transcript. That was a long time ago when I was in college. It took a lot of time for me to get the transcript, and it cost me a lot of money, and I still never have received a copy of it. They only deal institution to institution. Have you ever tried to get a copy of a credential, a certificate, a license that has either been lost or destroyed? It takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of money. A number of years ago, we started a series of focus groups within the construction industry in Florida, looking at the issues that affect the industry. And we found that employers, small employers particularly, are affected by the exact same situation as far as documenting a workforce that has high turnover and high churning. An additional problem they had was maintaining the records on pieces of equipment that had to go through regular inspection and certification. In Credzone, individuals set up their own account for free. There's no cost for you to go to our website and set up an account. Our revenue stream comes from the work that we do with companies. For companies, it's a one-time $500 setup fee and $39 for the first year that an employee goes into the program, and $15 per employee per year renewal thereafter. I show trade associations. Why trade associations? I have over 40 years of experience in working with trade associations on a national basis. Anyone here that does belong to associations is probably aware that the associations can no longer live on just their dues revenue alone. And that's why you get continuous asks from Office Max or from the local printer providing services as an association endorsed program. Everything that's bought through that process, the association receives some type of percentage on a non-dues revenue basis. And we provide the same service. So for an association, we set them up for free as far as their internal employee workforce. For any member firm that joins, we reduce the $500 fee down to $250, and the association receives an ongoing revenue of $5 per participating employee each year. So even for a small association, those numbers can add up to significant dollars over any given period of time. For educational institutions and government agencies, we have a fee structure set up that basically they're buying bands of inputs. We don't do it on an individual basis. We're already in discussions with both the University of Florida and with Santa Fe College. The unique thing is that they don't track all the CEU programs and all their non-academic sources from a college or university standpoint. Each individual unit is responsible for doing that. I'm working with a group over at IFAS right now that has been doing continuous education credits for a long period of time. The lady that's been maintaining that on an Excel spreadsheet for the last 20 years is retiring. They have no one in the office that knows how to do it, and they don't have a budget to hire anybody new. So we're talking about those programs. Even downtown at the Seed is the programs that they do there, both for community service and professional development. The college does not track the people that go through that program. It's all done on a local basis in-house. And so we're also talking about Santa Fe for their CEU courses to do a similar type of program. Government agencies, we haven't started working with them yet, but it'll be a similar type of structure relative to maintaining their documentation. I accidentally washed my wallet twice, destroying all of the cards that I had in it. And it took 2 times for me to learn that I should plasticize all of my cards before I put them in my wallet. How many times have you lost your wallet or had it stolen? Replicating the information in there is expensive and time-consuming. No certification or training organization tracks other individuals' credentials. In other words, for any course they give, they'll track their completions, but they're not going to track other organizations' completions. So there's no centralized data collection for any type of reporting of this nature. No certification. Because of this, it becomes a financial burden for small employers to do this, and actually becomes a hindrance to employment for some employees that have either lost their credentials or their credential has expired. Here are our benchmarks. We have several employers already on board. We're pleased to announce that in mid-November we'll be announcing our first association customer that will be on board, which we're really excited about. We're talking to 2 national trade associations at this time also. So our progression into 2017 is looking very strong. The sales cycles that we have with our company are basically based on sales of companies that come into our product line. And I'll explain how that looks further. This is a picture of our website page. Our website is up, it's already fully developed. If you go home this afternoon, you can start your own free personal Credzone page for all of your personal information. Here is a copy of a personal page. I'll draw a particular note to the center button which says Credzones. Once you set up your own master account, you can have separate Credzone accounts within your program. So you can have a professional designation, you can have a household designation, you can have your scuba certifications in another one. And with any of those, you can give permissions to people to view just for those particular sites. But this allows you to manage all of your programs. This is an example of an individual document page. Within this, you can actually set up timelines so that if you have a credential or certificate that expires, we'll notify you starting 6 months out of the expiration of that particular document, so you have time to get your CEU courses. This application also works very well for small companies that have equipment that's vital to their operation that they have to maintain. And that's not just construction. We're talking biotech companies, we're talking doctors' offices, IT companies that have to maintain and log those particular items, both for insurance and for compliance purposes. This is a picture of our employer page. How we start a company out is we work with the bookkeeper, wherever the administrator is, and we have that person set up a personal page first. Then from their personal page, there's a button that says business. They take that in, and we work with them to actually create their company program. But you can track your employees, and from that tracking, you go into their individual documentation. When an employer of a trade association signs up, they sign up through a portal at the website that we've branded for the association that we're working with. And that's how the association can track, without having to go through us, who is coming into their program. It's very transparent as far as what an association's expectation is from revenue for a particular program. But from this document, a training manager can plan training for their programs, a compliance officer can pull reports for compliance for insurance purposes, for grants, and for state and federal contract. So it really speeds up that time and makes it much more effective, because they're not going through either paper files or through different types of files. It's all housed under one location. This 5-year projected income is based only on employees coming into the program. We're projecting $18 million in revenue and $14 million in annual profit by the year 2021. The viral curve beginning in the second year reflects associations coming on board where we've captured a large number of employers at one time. The whole premise and the unique aspect that we use from a marketing standpoint, based on my background in the association game, is that with one association I can capture 200 to 2,000 employers with one sale. And that's really the premise for marketing our particular program, is going after associations on a white paper basis, basically creating affinity programs for them. Additional revenue coming in will be from data mining for research by associations, government entities, and other organizations. The workforce boards have already expressed an interest in having access to that information as the program grows. Additional revenue will come in by we're actually administering other organizations' paper, where we would actually issue the documentation instead of it coming from that employer, which saves them HR expenses and time. And also, eventually, we know that we'll be involved in verifying the certificates of other people, where we'll actually be going back to the original provider, which gives us the relationship to provide services to them. Our team, as I mentioned earlier, I have vast experience in this particular marketplace. We'll be adding employees to the STEM Ready program available through CareerSource. We anticipate having 4 employees coming on board in the next 60 days for that program. This time next year, we anticipate having 10 to 15 additional employees, and a big part of that will be in our call center, which I'll explain in just a second. For our future, we will become a huge database of certifications and licensing. We've already set up our program. We have the information already of every town in the world that has a zip code. They're already in our system. If you've taken a course at a particular college or university and start plugging that course in, it'll already automatically populate, for example, all the engineering programs at UF. If you go into UF Engineering, it will automatically populate and you pick out your programs that are needed. And we've done that for every post-secondary institution in the country already. Our 5-year goal is to be acquired by a large organization such as Google, Microsoft, or Oracle. Based on the relationships that we have with trade associations, based on the data that we have within our program, we think that in 5 years,